Hello listeners, and welcome back to ND 5.18. And as always, I am your host, Ender. Thank you all of you who've been following along with this little MTG color breakdown series that we've been doing. And now, this the long-awaited color red. Now, I appreciate all the support, all the other videos we've gotten, and I did interrupt the schedule by doing that how to play video. But a friend of mine had pointed out that if you're going to do the color breakdown, you should actually teach the people how to play the game. So, there you go. So now, let's get started. Almighty Color Pie, show us the way. The color red, represented by the mountain. The first aspect of red that we'll be going over is Impulse. And this is showcasing cards like Reckless Impulse, Lightning Bolt, Burgi, God of Storytelling, and the new Bone Horde Dracosaur. Now it's summarized in saying, living in the moment. Now Reckless Impulse is the new and improved card draw variation for red. It was Rummaging, which is discard a card first, then draw a card. I, like many other, prefer this new style of draw. And Reckless Impulse states, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Now the Lightning Bolt side is kind of like the bread and butter of red, which is Lightning Bolt states deal 3 damage to any target. Direct damage. Only red can do that. Now there's Burgi, God of Storytelling. This is the side of red that people believe that you need to have it tied to a secondary color, but no. Red is a steady combo engine all on its own. And I'm glad that people have started to recognize it. And Bone Horde Dracosaur is a big body, good stats, like great abilities, built-in card draw, like evasion. This is a good red creature. Now, the second aspect of red is Chaos. Now this is showcasing cards like Dragon Rage Chandler, Etali, Primal Storm, or the new Etali, Erebras Heretic Praetor, and Indomitable Creativity. Now Chaos is summed up in controlled instability. Now you may ask me, like, what do you mean controlled instability? Well, you see, red has developed this reputation of everything is just random, like I don't have a plan for anything. And that can clearly be seen in cards like Erebras Heretic Praetor, which states, haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card this turn, instead they exile the top card of their library. They may play it this turn. This seems like, well, it's just random chaos. No, you can build your deck around this. And Indomitable Creativity is notorious for its Emrakul, the Promised End, like, or I guess, new variations of Archon of Cruelty. It states, destroy X target artifacts and or creatures. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until an artifact or creature card is revealed and exiles that card. Those players put the exiled cards onto the battlefield and then shuffle their libraries. Controlled chaos. Controlled instability. Etali, Primal Storm. Whenever Etali, Primal Storm attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana cost. And Dragon's Rage Chandler. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Surveil 1. Now Surveil is, look at the top card of your library, you may put that card into your graveyard, keep it on top. But it has Delirium, which states as long as there are 4 or more card types, which you found out in the How to Play Magic the Gathering video, among cards in your graveyard, Dragon Rage Chandler gets +2/+2, has flying, and attacks each combat if able. Each of these things alone, chaotic, but together, or in some form of synergy, amazing. Now this is a section that I made personally, and I call it crafty. And I showcase some cards like Dockside Extortionist, Claim the Firstborn, Blood Moon, Ragavan, Nimble Pilfer. And I summarize it as trickery and traps. Okay? Red is unique in that it has 2 aspects that blend the best in my opinion. Now, red is harder to define and that people assume it's simple. It takes no skill, but that is far from the truth. Reducing 20 to 0 may seem simple, but the adaptability and efficiency one needs to have to overcome the easy life gain, self-protection, and just outpacing of mid-range decks takes skill. And I believe these cards right here are just some of the ways that Red can do that. Dockside Extortion states, when Dockside Extortion enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. Red never had ramp, but now treasures, that is Red's ramp. They have so many different ways of doing it, because now treasures are recognized as a universal like piece, evergreen. It will appear in every set if possible to accompany and help to eliminate mana screw amongst players. Now, claim the firstborn. You may ask me, like, why is this up here for crafty? Read what it says. Gain control of target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Red has access to sack outlets, things that let you sacrifice your own creatures. This lets you take your opponent's stuff, and this is just one version of this effect in Red. Red has always had this temporary steal ability, while Blue has permanent steal. Then we come to Blood Moon. Non-basic lands are mountains. Beautiful. Great. People that love their special value lands hate this card. Tron and Modern. Lotus Field and Pioneer, but Blood Moon's not legal there, but they have weaker versions of it there in Blood Sun. These are just land denial abilities without the dreaded blow up land destruction stigma, which I appeal to all Red players. Don't let that bog you down. Land destruction is part of the game. People enjoy these Field of the Dead lands, for example, which are too strong to let stay on the field. Fourth is Ragavan, Nimble Pilfer. Now, true, I do believe this card is too strong. That's my personal preference, but I'm not a Red player. Ragavan states, when it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. That's a strong ability. And it gives you the treasure for mana fixing too, so you can actually play the cards in your opponent's deck. And it gives you a big, you might snatch up something that they really needed in that moment. And it's exile. They can't get it anymore. Trickery and traps, people. Take advantage of it. And now we move to the Planeswalker section. Now I chose Jaya Ballard as my preferred red Planeswalker. Now I know all of you may be like, why not Chandra? She's everywhere. She's the face red Planeswalker. But if you look at the lore, Jaya's older than Chandra. Chandra's like a knockoff version of Jaya. Then there's Koth, who's also a good pick, but Koth is underutilized, and they made him a Mountain Matters person, which isn't necessarily bad, but that's a niche way to do it. Now, I chose Jaya because I believe she does everything that you need in a red Planeswalker. Now, Jaya embodies the impulse of red. Rest in peace to Jaya Ballard, who recently died in the Phyrexian invasion, betrayed by her then corrupted friend, Ajani. Yeah, I'll talk more about Ajani when I do the Celestia video down the line. Now, in her life, Jaya was a thief, a traveling wizard, a world savior, and a elder of a monastery for pyromancers, which is where Chandra would grow up and learn. She was killed by longtime friend Johnny, as stated, after he was completed. I know, I didn't spell that right, but I'm gonna leave that in there. Bill's character. Personally, she's my favorite red Planeswalker. And yes, I do believe she is better than Chandra Nalaar. Now, I'm not saying that Chandra isn't good. I'm just saying that I think Jaya was done better and has better abilities. When they read as +1, create a 1/1 red monk creature token with prowess. She makes a Monastery Swiftspear. Monastery Swiftspear is still the go-to red creature in burn decks, in Modern, and Pioneer, hell, even in Pauper. That should show you that that's such great utility. Her -1 is exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Impulse card draw, right there. Her -2 states, choose target creature an opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, Jaya Fiery Negotiator deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature. Low to the ground, red creatures, plus her tokens, they attack together, cumulative damage, destroy whatever creature you chose from your opponent. And her -8 states, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy it twice. That one lightning bolt turned into 3. You may choose new targets for the copies. I just think Giant is better. And there is a 4-mana Chandra out there, which is really good too. I still put this up against her. And now we come to Red's reputation. I'm fast as boy. I don't know if I can say that word here. Let me know if I should. The second one is Burn It With Fire. Yeah, that's it. That's how simple people view Red as. So, but yeah, here's that Monastery Swiftspear I told you about. A 1-mana red, hasty, prowess, 1/2 creature. And haste means as soon as you play it, you can swing that turn. And prowess means whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Now, these are some cards I want to showcase that I don't think get enough love, even though they really are good for the reputation of Red. There's Flame Blitz. At the beginning of your end step, Flame Blitz deals 5 damage to each Planeswalker on the board. Not one, each. It's good against a very heavy Planeswalker meta, Super Friends deck as they're called. Then there's Brotherhood's End, 3 mana. Brotherhood End deals 3 damage to each creature and each Planeswalker. Destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Get them Soul Rings, them Moxes, those Arcane Signets, get them out of here. Them treasures, get them out of here. Make them use it immediately. And now this is another Red Planeswalker who I'm a fan of. Now, they did him wrong in the story, but his abilities are really good, and I wish they would come out with a stronger version of him. They read as +1. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Creature cards exiled this way gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control a Luca Planeswalker. -2. Exile target creature you control, then reveal cards from the top of your library and to reveal a creature card with a higher converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And his -7 is each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. And that is Luca Coppercoat Outcast. You can build a deck around this dude and it would be fantastic. Alright, now he did get a recent Planeswalker card. It's now red-green though. And he has now been completed. I'm not sure if he's deceased in the story or not. But you'll find out about him in the Gruul video. Okay? Now moving on. Now we're getting to my favorite half of the videos. Things to remember. Pacing is needed because with such a well-known plan, your opponents will have answers to you. Sometimes using your damage on creatures and planeswalkers is for the best. Don't believe the hype. You all can hang in the mid game too. You just have to be very selective in the creatures that you put in the deck. And no matter what your style of red, incremental damage, also known as pinging, as is showcased on Thermal Alchemist, is a noteworthy addition to every red deck. Now these 4 cards right here, 2 of them are all stars across all the formats that they're legal. That is Bone Crusher Giant, which doubles as a instant as well as a creature, stating pay 2, stomp, it damaged, can't be prevented this turn. That's not just a damage from this card, that's damage, period. Okay? Stomp deals 2 damage to any target, and it doubles as a 3 mana, 4/3 giant. stating whenever it becomes a target of a spell, Bone Crusher deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. Then there's Unholy Heat, which is the other all-star here. Unholy Heat deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. You think, why is that good? But in tandem with Dragon Ray's Channeler, it has Delirium, stating Unholy Heat deals 6 damage instead if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Now here's a card that I just want to throw out there. They didn't really see a lot of love and affection when it first came out, but I do think that more people should give it another try. And it's Hazoret's Undying Fury. It is 6 mana, but in Commander, you got the time. Shuffle your library, then exile the top 4 cards. You may cast any number of non-land cards with converted mana cost 5 or less from among them without paying their mana cost. Lands you control don't untap during your next untap step. All you have to do is make sure that those 4 cards are worth it. And the last card to touch on, but certainly not least, is Thermal Alchemist, which states it is a 0/3 with Defender. Tap it, Thermal Alchemist deals 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap it. You could chain this together with some stuff. You could build your entire deck around it too. It works. Now people, let's be practical about this. The risk assessment. The strengths of red. The ability to finish matches quickly. You already know that. Recent years have seen red getting ramped. Touched on that when it comes to treasures. Your card draw got better. It used to be looting, aka rummaging. Discard then draw. Now it's exile based. Exile until end of turn. I think it's better. The weaknesses. It doesn't hold up against decks built for a long game. Alright, you can last in the mid game, but you're not made to go past that. Hell, some of y'all aren't even made to get to the mid game. But I implore you to have a backup plan for that. Your removal is damage based. Sometimes that's not gonna cut it. When you meet things like indestructible or damage prevention, it's there you go. And the efficiency of even using your damage spells to kill the things that you can. Like, sometimes you needed that to hit the person in the face. It is what it is. But that's where cards like Unholy Heat really shine through. That 6 damage. So many matchups have life gain or incidental life gain nowadays. And yeah, that just means you're going to struggle against them. You have to build cards like Skullcrack or the enchantments that deal damage and prevent players from gaining life. You have to be ready for that. Okay, people, now it's time for notable tribes. Once again, these are the tribes I feel have some of the best synergy without needing to cross over into other colors. Number 1 is Goblin. Goblins have access to lords, creatures that pump their tribe. You have direct damage, you have sacrifice outlets, card search, tribal synergies. Dragons are just all around solid package. Next, we have dragons. Big power, evasiveness, and flying. They're just a unique, every one of them is just pretty much unique, except for the generic ones. Then they have their own tribal synergies. They're just devils, which don't get a lot of love. But they have looting, direct damage, and they're just fun. They're unique again. Now, there's only 3 notable tribes for red here because red doesn't really care about the tribe. It cares more about damage. So you'll find more damage trouble stuff. Though if they just had a little bit more support, you will find some really just fun things like Cyclopses, worms. Like it's the red version of worm, which is called the Helian. But it's really just worm. But just a little bit of support and it'll be amazing. Now it's time for the tips and advice, which if you are only watching me the videos for this slide, I still thank you for showing up. Gonna have a lot of fun picking these cards out. The cards that I don't see at all and that are amazing. Now, tips and advice. Number 1, you have the ability to make everything cause damage and even limit actions. Do it. That's one of your strengths. Do it. I don't ever see red players taking advantage of this. Number 2, you are the color hate. And you can achieve so much with it, especially against blue and white. Number 3, land destruction. It may be hated, but it is a necessary evil. Embrace it. Number 4, reducing 20 to 0. Seems simple, but adaptability and efficiency are a must. Now I got 6 cards up here. Let's go through them. Number 1, Scald. Whenever a player taps an island for mana, Scald deals 1 damage to that player. I got a whole story behind this card from a pod that I used to play in. It's honestly funny, but I'm saving that for another video I got specifically talking to the commander players out there. Number 2, Havoc. Whenever target opponent successfully casts a white spell, he or she loses 2 life. Yeah, it just anti-life right there. Number 3, Battle Stream. Whenever a creature blocks, Battle Stream deals 1 damage to that creature controller. Please pay attention. It says whenever a creature. That counts yours too. Number 4, Stranglehold. Your opponents can't search libraries. Take that green. If an opponent will begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead and take that blue. Number 5, Ashling's Prerogative. As long as Ashling's Prerogative comes into play, choose odd or even. Each creature with converted mana cost of the chosen value has haste. Each creature without converted mana cost of the chosen value comes into play tapped. Yes, red has prison pieces. I hope you're getting that from all these cards on the screen. And number 6, for the nice players that don't want to just run strictly land destruction spells, you could just play Ruination, destroy all non-basic lands. See, if they're playing fair magic, all they're gonna have is basics. So the only thing you're doing is just evening the playing field for everybody else. And there you go, people. Your tips and advice. Now, once again, I would like to thank all of my viewers out there, all the listeners here to Indy 5.18. Thank you all for continuing to follow along with me on this journey. Please share the videos. Please like, comment. I do actually interact with the audience that participate. And thank you all for continued support. This is Ender, signing off here at Indy 5.18, saying, as always, live your best life and be well, everybody. Take care.